mobile phones in the silent mode. Anna, ready. Video ki ready. Namaste. A very warm good morning to everyone. Today, we welcome you all to the 125th anniversary of the foundation of Ramakrishna Mission and 123rd celebrations of the Foundation Day of Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. Celebrating the 125th anniversary of the foundation of Ramakrishna Mission, a small video will be played remembering the history of the Ramakrishna Mission. We request you all to have a glance and enjoy it.
కిరణం తన జ్ఞాన సముపార్జనతో యావత్ దేశాన్ని చైతన్యపరిచింది. ప్రజలలో పేరుకుపోయిన అజ్ఞానాన్ని, తామెప్పుడూ బానిసలమనే అసత్యపు పొరలను తొలగిస్తూ దేశ ప్రజలకు వేదాంత సారాన్ని బోధించింది. ఆ సమర శంఖారావమే స్వామి వివేకానంద. ఈ దేశం ఎంతో మంది ఆధ్యాత్మికవేత్తలను అందించిన స్వామి వివేకానందుల వారు ఎప్పటికీ ప్రత్యేకమే.
Now, celebrating the 23rd Foundation Day of Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, a small video will be played remembering the service and achievements of this institution. We now request our Adhyaksha Maharaj, Sri Swami Bodhamayananda Ji, along with our chief guest, Honorable Chief Justice of Telangana State High Court, and our guest of honor, Padma Bhushan Sri K. Padmanabhaya, retired IAS, to come on to the dais. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Blessing comes with prayers. Prayers provide power. Now request Swami Siteshananda Ji and our brother monks to invocate the blessings of the God with a prayer and opening song.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसाधनं। महागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु आनो दिवो बृहतः पर्वताधा सरस्वती यजतागन्तु यज्ञं वाग्देव्यै नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः। नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वीर्नः सन्त्वोषधीः मधुनक्तमुतोषसि मधुमत्पार्थिवगं रजः। मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमागम् अस्तु सूर्यः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्निर्दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्यास्वरूपान्तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहम्। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी। 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 चिरसमाधि शिखरि नुंडी चिरसमाधि शिखरि नुंडी नरुल सेवकु दिगिन नरवर। चिरसमाधि शिखरि नुंडी नरुल सेवकु दिगिन नरवर। जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी। भयमु वलदु भीति वलदु भयमु वलदु भीति वलदु। अमृत पुत्रुलु मीरु मीरनि भयमु वलदु भीति वलदु। अमृत पुत्रुलु मीरु मीरनि विश्वमन्तयु चाटि जपिन विश्वमन्तयु चाटि जपिन विश्वमन्तयु चाटि जपिन विश्वमन्तयु चाटि जपिन। यतिवरेण्ययुगाचार्य विश्वमन्तयु चाटि जपिन यतिवरेण्ययुगाचार्य। जय विवेकानंद गुरुवर भुवन मंगलकारी। विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी विश्वव्यापक प्रेम मूर्ति विश्वद्योतक परम ज्ञानी। విశ్వముక్తి సమర్పితాత్మవు విశ్వవంద్యుడ జయము జయము జయ వివేకానంద గురువర భువన మంగళకారి జయ వివేకానంద గురువర భువన మంగళకారి జయ వివేకానంద గురువర భువన మంగళకారి.
Thank you, Maharaj. Lighting of the lamp is invocating the light of knowledge and wisdom. We now request our Adhyaksha Maharaj, along with our Honorable Chief Guest and Guest of Honor, to please light the lamp. Thank you, sir. We now request our Adhyaksha Maharaj, Srimad Swami Bodhamanandaji Maharaj, to deliver the welcome address.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा मृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ. Namaskars to Honorable Justice of the Telangana High Court, Shri Ujjain Bhoyanji. Namaskars to Padma Bhushan Shri K. Padmanabhaya, retired IAS, former Home Secretary, Government of India. Namaskars to retired Justice Kodandramji, Rambabuji, and all other Bar Association members, secretaries, advocates, and my dear young students of law. As you just now saw the two videos, one is about the Ramakrishna mission history. The second is Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence history. 2022 is a very important year for all of us. One is Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav was celebrated and is being celebrated somewhere in the country. The second is 125 years of Swami Vivekananda's lectures in India for Indians, which is hardly noticed by our people. That was the turning point of the freedom movement. Swamiji's return from America in 1897, landed in Colombo on January 15th, Until April 15th, non-stop, he gave 25 lectures through the length and breadth of the country, giving a new thought process, a new revolutionary ideas for our people to wake up from their sleep, and that changed the mind of many, many revolutionaries. Mahatma Gandhi said, after reading those lectures of Vivekananda, my love for India grew 1,000 times. He spoke about the past of India, the present circumstances, and the future glory. That was his master stroke. 3 in 1. Radiant India, resilient India, and the resurgent India. So that celebration also is going on in many of our centers. The third is 125 years of Ramakrishna Mission Foundation, which he himself did on May 1st, 1897. So we are in the 125th year of this big celebration in the country till May 1st, 2023. So every year, September 10th is a historic day for us. September 11th is known as Universal Brotherhood Day, Chicago Addresses Day of Swami Vivekananda. Unfortunately, people stop only after listening to the first lecture. Sisters and Brothers of America, అలాగ చెప్పారు ఇలాగ చెప్పారు చప్పట్లు కొట్టారు ఆ తర్వాత మనం నిద్రపోతాం. But believe me, Swamiji spoke nearly 12 times in 15 days. After the first lecture, which was only for 3.5 minutes. Afterwards, he got lot of time, lot of opportunity to speak about our culture, about our traditions, about agriculture, about industry, about gold, about chemistry, and about Hinduism, about Vedanta, about the differences in our religions, till 27th September. So please read that other lectures also, apart from the first lecture. On 15th September, why we disagree. On 19th September, paper on Hinduism, 2.5 hours he spoke, clearing the cobwebs, clearing the mind of the Western people towards our Sanatana Dharma. September 25th he spoke, 26th he spoke, 27th last day he spoke. And every time Vivekananda's lecture was kept in the last. Anybody walking out, they would announce, next Swami Vivekananda will speak, and 3,000 people used to sit. It was not Vivekananda as a person speaking, it was the principles of Sanatana Dharma which was speaking through Swami Vivekananda. So that celebration also is going on. So normally 10th, 11th, 12th every year is our festival day in Ramakrishna Math. But due to Ganesh Nimajjanam this year and non-availability of the chief guests, etc., we had to postpone it to 13th and today also, and 17th. So Ramakrishna Mission has its own uniqueness, started by a monk, a sannyasi without bank balance, without permanent account or anything. He just did it, Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. Why he started Ramakrishna Mission? The power of organization, Sangha Shakti. He realized, understood, learned in America. One day, Swami Vivekananda finished his lecture in New York and came rushing back to his house, where he was a guest of one old lady by name Ole Bull. Swamiji used to call her Dhira Mata, heroic mother. She was so heroic, so friendly towards our culture. He said, funnily, Mother, mother, I fell in love today. Swami Vivekananda told that lady, I fell in love today. The typical American mother that she was, she said, who is that fortunate girl, Swami? She asked. Swami Vivekananda laughed loudly and said, it is not a person, it is not a woman, but is the power of organization of you people that I fell in love with. I am taking it to India. And in the name of my master, I will start an organization for the welfare of my people. Already he made the plan at that time, even before coming to America. And some of you who have seen that monogram, emblem of Ramakrishna Math and Mission in any book, in any place it is there. It was designed by Swami Vivekananda himself while having breakfast. His mind was always in that high levels of yoga, consciousness. So he asked for a paper, asked for a pen, scribbled something. He was having coffee, scribbled something. Paper. రాసుకొని అందరు అడిగారు, ఏంటి స్వామి రాస్తున్నారంటే, మేము తర్వాత చెప్తా, మీకు అర్థం కాదు ఇప్పుడు చెప్తే. పాకెట్లో పెట్టేసుకున్నారు. న్యూయార్క్ వచ్చారు తర్వాత. హీ కాల్డ్ అన్ అమెరికన్ ఆర్టిస్ట్, ఏ ప్రొఫెషనల్, sat by his side for 3 hours and said, please paint this to perfect measurement. This will be the emblem of my organization in the name of my Guru. See the far side, ఇంకా ప్రారంభం అవ్వలేదు, అప్పుడే దానికి ఒక ఎంబ్లమ్, దానికి ఒక మోటో, దానికి రూల్స్ రెగ్యులేషన్స్ అన్నీ ఫారం చేసి పెట్టేశారు. సమయం లేదు వివేకానందకి. జీవించింది కేవలం 39 సంవత్సరాలు 5 నెలలు మాత్రమే. అయితే పని చేసింది 15 శతమానాల వరకు. He said, my work for India, for the world will be for the next 15 centuries. Look at the power that he generated within that 8-year working period. No communication, traveling difficult, no emails, no WhatsApps, no mobiles. He wrote 600 letters from America to India in writing, manuscript, awakening the whole nation, bringing the unity in our country, bringing some focus on our problems like that. So many things are there. So that organizational emblem was designed by Swami Vivekananda. It contains the 4 yogas: Karma Yoga, work; Bhakti Yoga, worship, flower; Gnana Yoga, the rising sun, knowledge. Then we have the serpent, which is encircling all these. It is the Kundalini Shakti, Raja Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. He said, by one or more or all of these, man can be free. This is religion. Clearly documented. This is religion. Freedom is religion. So Swamiji gave us that motto because in his Guru Sri Ramakrishna he saw the embodiment of 4 yogas. Gnana, Karma, Bhakti, Raja Yoga at its peak. He said that will be the modern religion. Householder can meditate, can worship, can serve. A meditator should work, should worship other things by one or more or all of these and be free. He was for evolution, not just for revolution. Let us grow, let us grow, let us grow. Tasmat yogi bhava, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita to everybody, to you, to me, to others. Tasmat yogi bhava, tasmat yogi bhava. Man in the court, man in the bank, man in the street, man in the office, man in the college. Tasmat yogi bhava. Not just in dress, not just in degree, but in practice, in principles. So Ramakrishna Mission started. We have an expansion going on all over the country, whether it's the northeast, whether in the west, whether in the east, whether in deep south. The demand is increasing. We are not able to supply. Recently, the President of India, Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh, when he was there, he visited our Itanagar Center. The Honorable Chief Justice was mentioning about that. The only hospital in the entire Arunachal Pradesh, run by monks, taken care of 300, 400 beds in the far east jungles. And recently we started in Lumding, touching China border, a 300 children residential school with 4 monks serving there in difficult circumstances. Biju Patnaik ji, the Chief Minister of Orissa, he requested, please do something for the tribals of Orissa. And he gave 100 acres without charging 1 paisa. 8 monks are serving 700 tribal children, residential school in Hatamuniguda. I was searching for GPS. It was not available for a long time. All around barren rocks. But not today, it is a fertile ground of 700 children staying, tribals picked up from the deep jungles of Odisha, who do not know how to even wear a cloth, who just eat the birds and cockroaches, frogs like that. They're all made into normal human beings up to 12th standard. CBSE syllabus is taught, then they are sent as engineers or doctors or officers towards other parts of the country. Last 15 years it is going on. This is the contribution, seva of the Ramakrishna Mission to the society without any advertisement, without any other outside meetings. That is Swamiji's call. What our work will be is like the gentle dew which falls unseen and yet brings into blossom the finest of roses. That will be the work of Ramakrishna Mission to the society. No outside pampering and advertisements. Then this institute came where you are sitting, 2000 September. This is the last point, and the purpose of this program of this institute is to churn out men and women of human excellence. You may choose any career: engineer, doctor, lawyer, tailor, driver, scientist, teacher, anybody. But the plus factor, the X factor is human excellence. Daivi Sampat, in one word. Spiritual qualities of the man in the society. Swami Vivekananda asked a question in 1897 in Madras: if I can give you freedom tomorrow, where are the men to preserve that freedom? Kahan hai manush, dikhawa humko, kal de denge swaraj. That was his master stroke, that was his boldness. He could do it. He could do it. I'm not going into details how he could do it. He had a foresight and a foresight. But he saw. He said, I am seeing something I am not saying. What am I seeing? Mother India shall be free in the next 50 years. 1897, 1947. But that freedom shall come under some unforeseen circumstances. He gave a warning to the people of India. We have to pay heavy price for it. And we paid heavy price, which is going on troubling even now. Kahan hai manush? The question remained. September 2000, 2 years before, maybe 3 years before, the then president of Hyderabad Center, Srimad Swami Ranganathanandaji, had this in mind. Swamiji asked the question, Kahan hai manush? Where are men? Where are men? He said, we have hospitals, we have schools, we have colleges, we have industries, we have infrastructure, but where are men? Men means women also. It is not gender bias. It is a usage. He said, in Hyderabad we shall start a center which will not look at anybody based on their caste or creed or background. We will invite them to become excellent human beings. September 2000, this institute was inaugurated with that idea. Raw products come in, diamonds are sent out. From 5th standard boy to a PG student of the university. Even we are proud to say that we did a 4-month course for the advocates of the Telangana High Court on communication skills, on values, on meditation. So this was requested by the Bar Association, this was requested by the Chief Justice, and many Chief Justices came here, have been coming here, and we are very happy that the Honorable Chief Justice is here to participate in our anniversary today. And along with him, we have Shri K. Padmanabhai Garu. Just on a phone call, he accepted his love and affection for the institution, and we thank Rambabuji for guiding us to invite Padmanabhai Garu, one of the distinguished Padma Bhushan Padmanabhai ji, for his services to the country. We will know more about him, and we welcome each one of you for this unique celebration. This is a beginning of something bigger. We don't stop with only one function or one youth convention. Tomorrow we have a spiritual retreat for devotees. 400 students come here on Sundays to undergo recycling of the mind. I keep telling students, you talk about recycling plastic, recycling paper, recycling water, recycling garbage, recycling scrap, but I have not heard anybody talking about recycling the mind, which is more important than paper or scrap. If this is trained, everything will be trained. Everything will be all right. So let us train the emotions, let us train the mind of the people, young, working, elders, adults, and let us see a new India coming up in the future, next 25 years, when we celebrate the centenary of our freedom. So we are welcoming the honorable guests on stage, welcoming each one of you, and have a joyful learning for the next few minutes. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your warm welcome and enlightening insights. Now, we request our Balavikas students to recite the powerful teachings of Swami Vivekananda.
కావాలని 4 years after Swami Vivekananda left the shores of India as an unknown monk, he landed in Colombo on January 15, 1897. Swamiji's landing and his journey turned into a victory procession. Delirious crowd gathered everywhere to hear a word from his lips. Young men and even Rajas drew his carriage. Swamiji addressed the people everywhere in India, and those lectures today are well known as lectures from Colombo to Almora.
On this occasion of 125 years of Swamiji's Colombo to Almora addresses, we the students of Bal Vikas are here to present a few utterances from them.
In his address at Ramnath, Swamiji exhorts, "The longest night seems to be passing away. The sorest trouble seems to be coming to an end at last. The seeming corpse appears to be rising again, and a voice is coming unto us."
Gentle, firm, and yet unmistakable in its utterances, and is gaining volume as days pass by. And behold, the sleeper is awakening, the lethargy is passing away.
My ideal is growth, expansion, and development on national lines. As I look back upon the history of my country, I do not find in the whole world another country which has done quite so much for the improvement of the humankind.
In his lecture in Madras, titled "The Work Before Us," Swamiji exhorts, "Once more the world must be conquered by India. This is the dream of my life, and I wish that each one of you who can hear me today will have the same dream in your mind, and stop not till you have realized the dream."
They will tell you every day that you had better look at your own home first and then go to work outside. But I will tell you in plain language that you work best when you work for others.
This is a great idol before us, and everyone must be ready for it. The conquest of the world by India. Nothing less than that. Everyone must be ready for it. Strain every nerve for it. Up India and conquer the world with your spirituality. As has been declared, on this soil first, the love must conquer the hatred. The hatred cannot conquer itself. In his address at Calcutta, Swamiji exhorts, "Arise, awake, for your country will need this tremendous sacrifice that will be done by the young men, the young, the energetic, the strong, the well-built. For them is this task."
What we want is this Shraddha. Unfortunately, it has nearly vanished from India, and that is why we are in our present state. What makes the difference between man and man is a difference in this Shraddha and nothing else. Therefore, this is what I want and what all of us here want, this faith in ourselves.
Give up the awful disease that is creeping into the national veins, the idea of ridiculing everything, the loss of seriousness, and that of the strong, the well-built. For them is it.
In the meanwhile, let us not abuse our country. Let us not curse and abuse the weather-beaten and work-worn institutions of our thrice holy motherland.
Close your lips and let your hearts open. Work out the salvation of this land and of the whole world. Each of you thinking the entire burden is on your shoulders. Be not afraid of anything. You will do marvelous work. The moment you fear, you are nobody.
Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapyavaran, Nibodhata. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Swamiji said that the honor shown to him was the honor shown to the ideals the country had held dear from time immemorial.
Therefore, today, let us not just hear, but also imbibe the spirit of Swami Vivekananda and the ideals of our motherland, and start working towards the salvation and welfare of our country.
Taking forward Swami Vivekananda's teachings, life building, man making, character making, and nation building. It was a powerful presentation by our Balavika students. Thank you. I'm extremely privileged to introduce our guest of honor, Padma Bhushan Sri K. Padmanabhaiah, Sir, retired IAS. K. Padmanabhaiah, sir, is a retired civil servant and a former Home Secretary of India. He is the chairman of the Court of Governors of the Administrative Staff College of India and has headed many government committees such as Committee on Police Reforms in the year 2000, the Committee on Reorganization of the Services Selection Board, and the Committee to Review the Working of National Institute of Urban Management. The Government of India awarded him the third highest civilian honor of the Padma Bhushan in the year 2008 for his contributions to Indian civil service. Thank you, sir, for your valuable presence and for taking part in our celebration today. We now request Padma Bhushan Sri K. Padmanabhaiah, sir, retired IAS, to address the gathering.
Swami Bodhmayananda Ji, the chief guest of this day, the Honorable Chief Justice of Telangana High Court, my good friend Dr. Ram Babu, and other distinguished gentlemen and ladies, and sisters and brothers. It's a pleasure to be in this institute, the Ramakrishna Mission and the Ramakrishna Mutt. The moment one entered these surroundings, I mean, one's heart, is filled with joy and peace, more than joy, peace, In the crowded city, even though it is located right in the crowded city, you feel so much of greenery is there, and a peaceful atmosphere prevails. So I must thank Swamiji for having called me here. I am not a Vedantist. I can't speak much about Vivekananda, though I have read quite a number of his works. And there are other people competent to do that. But I wanted to share some thoughts about the words used, the institute, the Vivekananda Institute of Excellence. Now, those students who are being trained by the Vivekananda Institute of Excellence must congratulate themselves very much for two reasons. One is it's associated with the name of Vivekananda, who brought a new, new repute and new respect for India in the entire world. And the second thing is, it is an institute of excellence. I'm a great fan of excellence. There is a book which I would recommend, I think everybody should read, and your library also should have, In Praise of Excellence. There is a beautiful book, I forget the author's name. And that book says, now, the opposite of excellence is mediocrity. That means chalta hai, mediocre, this one. I want to give you an example. We have our epics and Puranas and all that, Mahabharata, Ramayana and all that. Do you remember anybody who is known for his wealth from any of these things? No. But you would know people who have excelled in some fields. Arjuna, for example, the best, archer. Ekalavya, or some of the gurus, and various other people. You remember them for their excellence, not for their work, or not for their wealth or anything, or for their kingdoms. So excellence, is the one which would sort of help the country come out of its present this one. That takes me into my main theme. I want to know before I speak, how many of you are students of the Vivekananda Institute here? Can they raise their hands? students in the institute. Okay, that's fine. How many of you are graduates? A lot of them are graduates. Wonderful. And how many of you are, diploma holders? 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Why I asked is, before I address you, I must know who I am talking to. Then only it gives me an idea, Law students also are there. I heard it from your speech also. You are concentrating on the law. So I would come to that in a minute. What I want to divide my talk on two parts. One is the individual, what is the responsibility of the individual, and what is the position of the nation, the country, I would recommend another book that you should read. It's called Promise and Challenge by an industrialist, a fellow called, I'm forgetting the author's name, I would get it, Naushad Forbes. He is an industrialist from Maharashtra. It's a beautiful book. In that book, he says, India has tremendous potential to become a world leader. Somebody may question, why should you become a world leader? Is the leadership of the world required? Yes, I think it is required, because it is a connected world, it's a global world. And then what happens is, for example, take the case of the vaccine nationalism. When the COVID came, every country wanted to make the vaccine, but nobody was prepared to share it with anybody else. And then look at the war in Ukraine. That has completely shattered the entire economy of the world. The so-called supply lines have been completely gone. There is no gas, there is no oil. So anything in the world, anywhere in the world, affects the entire globe. So I think there has to be some global leadership. Let it be America, let it be China, let it be India, but somebody should be there. I believe that India has all the potential and all the requirements to become a world leader. But provided, why has it the potential? I think three things. One is our composite culture. I think that is the most important thing. And no other organization represents this as well as Ramakrishna Mission and the Vivekananda Institutes do that. In the book which is given to me, there's a mention that Ramakrishna Mission and the Mutt and all that have people from various religions, including Muslims. That's something great. So it's a composite, inclusive culture is the basis of our, this one, You don't exclude anybody. And two, we have a wonderful youth, most of you. And you must have heard what is called the youth dividend in India. That means the working age people from the age of 22 to about 50 or so, the maximum number in the world is in India now. The youngest group. They are well educated. If we don't provide them proper employment and then take work from them, and if they don't do the work, then what happens is, in another 10 years or 20 years, what would happen? You would become old. And that benefit which we have of what is called the population dividend, or demographic dividend, would disappear. And then you have passed 1 or 10 or 20 years without job, and thereafter you have become old. So you become not only a burden to yourself, you will become a burden to the nation. So I think the first thing that the country has to do is provide jobs to all these people. Now, how do we do that? There are two problems. One is, as somebody has said, in America what happens is, if you go for a job, they would ask you, what can you do? Or what can you contribute to our company? What policies would you implement? How would you help us? Whereas in India, if you go for a job, they would ask you, what is your degree? What degree do you have? Are you a BA or are you an MA or what? Now, somebody has said the other day, so what is required is skills. Skills in whatever field you are doing. If you are a lawyer, the argumentative skills and the convincing the people. If you are an engineer, something else. So the skills and excellence. This is what is required, And that doesn't come just by degrees. Someone has said that in India the pity is that those who have skills have no degree or no certificate, and those who have certificate have no skills. So that is the sort of tragedy of the country, So I think you all need to forget about the degree. I asked how many diploma holders are there. So only 1 or 2 persons have raised their hands. I'm sorry to note that. Because do you know one of the largest, one of the most prosperous countries in the world is Germany. What does Germany do? What it does is they have apprenticeship, training, on-the-job training. Once you, and most of them are diploma holders or certificate holders, but they are on the job and they learn the job thoroughly and with precision. So that's what they do. Unfortunately, because of the colonial hang-up or whatever it is, what we do is, we must have a degree, we must have a BA or an MA. Otherwise, nobody would marry that girl or nobody would marry the boy also. So this is a sad thing. So forget about this hangover about degree and diploma. So incidentally, Kishan Reddy, our minister, home minister, culture minister, I asked him, what have you studied? He told me there is some institute of technology here, which gives a certificate. He had a certificate from there. Then I said, did you work anywhere for a few years? He said, yes. So he's a man on the spot, man on this one. He can do the things. But then ask an engineer, civil engineer, as somebody said, a automobile engineer, he can't repair his own car. He has to give it somewhere else because he had only learnt about major engineering but not minor repairs, So the point I want to stress is, incidentally in India, there is some saying in Telugu called Aramba Suratvam. That means you show a lot of enthusiasm initially, but you never carry it forward. There is a National Skills Commission is appointed, somebody else has been appointed. A lot of dhoom dhamaka kiya some 5 years ago. But then very few people have been trained, have obtained their skills. And so the skilling of the people is very, very important. So I wanted to mention that, then only the country can progress, So, I covered both the things, how the individual can benefit and how it would benefit the nation, Now, one more thing I wanted to mention is the girls who came on this dais. I must congratulate them from the bottom of my heart. I think they did an excellent work. And when they were reciting the Vivekananda, these things, someone said about arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. That used to be my motto in my school days. So I used to sort of all the time think of that, And another thing, I took the quotation again. There is one more quotation of Vivekananda I wanted to mention. Take up one idea. Make that one idea your life. Dream of it. Think of it. Live on that idea. Let the brain, the body, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea. And just leave every other idea alone. Focus. Unless you have a focus on what you are doing, lakshya, you would not be able to sort of succeed in whatever you are doing. This is extremely essential. The third one, quotation, of course, as a school child, I used to remember is, my Indians should have nerves of steel and muscles of, muscles of iron, and something like that. This is what we used to do. And thereafter, when I just got recruited in 1961 into the IAS, I had the good fortune of Swami Ranganathananda coming to our academy at Mussoorie and give a lecture there. That was a life-changing event in my career. And he spoke with such passion, even in 1961 itself he was quite aged. But such a great, impactful speech he had made about Vivekananda and his ideals. So, I want to congratulate you on that. And talking about what type of jobs would you get? Now, I wanted to mention, because everyone cannot be a graduate, everyone, may not even pass out of the school. As I said, the apprenticeship is very important. There is a new act passed by the government of India called Apprenticeship Act now. And according to that, everybody who wants to do that type of job has to have the experience in the apprenticeship. Now, I want to mention, today there is a tremendous shortage of nurses in this country. And what few nurses are there, they go abroad. They go to America and, Gulf and all that. Then there is a shortage of paramedical personnel. Health is growing like hell at a great speed. Government is investing in so many areas in the health sector. Now the pathology, laboratory assistants, the blood sample collectors, a huge number of this one is there. And then medical technicians. Medicine now is more machines, taking X-rays and MRI and, CIT or whatever it is. There are so many of those things, medical technicians. Automobile sector is another area which is growing very fast, mechanics and all that. Then electrical systems, power, the electrical engineers, mechanics, you don't have to be an engineer. Then retail trade is another thing which is growing. Every day you hear Ambani has opened one, Adani has opened one, somebody else, Godrej has opened one, and the retail shops you go, the girls and boys, there are so many of them. It need not stop there. It can be up the chain, So retail, this one. And food delivery activities. Now food is, everybody has to eat food. And so many people, housewives, are cooking food and supplying semi-cooked food. And then, cooked food, but not with the masalas and all that. You have to add. So all types of things people are doing. Sweets, everybody is preparing. And some of them have made huge money, I tell you. So then fashion designing. This is another area where a lot of this one is there. And fashion designing means the designers are there, like Tarun Talyani and somebody else and all that, all those big names. They make huge amounts of money. But do you know, they depend on the ordinary tailors. They put about 15, 20, 30 tailors somewhere and then give them a design and then ask them to cut and stitch and all that. So the mainstay of that fashion business are the tailors and the cutters. And of course, the fabric selectors. Some of you have a sort of flair for picking up the right fabric. So design area, tailoring and all these things. Then construction activity. Hyderabad is booming in the construction activity. Construction related businesses like carpentry, like furniture making, like transport. So many activities connected with the construction activity. And ultimately I said, if nothing, you can even earn your livelihood by making flexes for the politicians. See how many flexes have been put, all over this one. So it's not a bad business, let me tell you. And you get frequent this one, good clients. So the point I am trying to make is, work is worship. That's what Vivekananda has said. What is the meaning of that? Work is worship means no work is mean. Every work, big or small, there is no big work, there is no small work. Work, whatever you do, is worship. In a worshipful attitude, you should do. So don't think of a lower job, upper job, and all that, I think that is very, very essential. So I don't have to say anything more than this. I want to congratulate the organization and they're celebrating the 125th anniversary of the foundation of the mission and the 23rd foundation of the Vivekananda Institute. I've gone through this one, and Ramakrishna mission, when I was in the university in Vivekananda, there used to be a beautiful center there. We used to regularly go there, and that was my first this one, and Ranganathananda Swamiji coming to Mussoorie was the second incident, So we are all aware of the tremendous service that these people have been doing for the last so many years. But the greatest service they are doing is for the youngsters, to train them. So the other aspect of Vedanta and all that I did not want to stress. But one more thing, people complain of difficulties and all that. The girls mentioned how he left Bombay and then went to Madras and from there went abroad. Do you know how much time he took on the journey? He took more than 2 months to reach Vancouver in Canada. He had not much money. Whatever money was there was spent. And he got down at Vancouver and by train he went to Chicago. He had no friends. And then there was no invitation for the parliament of this one. He had no proper invitation at all. And nobody introduced him there. So he just went and every day he was spending money, so nothing remained. So when he was going in the train from Vancouver to Chicago, he met a lady and they went on talking. And that lady was in Boston. So she said, if you want, you come to and stay with us at Boston. So this gentleman, he wanted to save some money. If I go there, she would introduce me to some friends and I can also stay with her. I can give some lessons to her and she can feed me. So with that idea, he went there and he stayed there for some time. And he also knew that Boston is an intellectual city. This is a rowdy city, Chicago. A lot of color, this one and all that. He was not looked up properly. So he said, let me go to Boston. Boston Brahmins, that's why they call. So he went there and he stayed there. And he says, I saved £1 a day. He had to save that. And then he came and that lady introduced to somebody else and he gave an introduction to the parliament, World Parliament of Religions. And that's how he was invited. And when he went there, he says he was so nervous. Everybody came with a prepared speech. This gentleman did not, he lost his prepared speech somewhere. And he didn't know what to speak. So his mouth was dry and then started the whole thing. And he didn't speak once. He spoke 5 or 6 times in that conference which lasted for 10 days. And that changed the entire scenario of the world. People used to think before that India is a land of snake charmers and, fakirs and sannyasis and all that. But then he gave a completely new twist to the Vedanta. And then a synthesis of all the 4 yogas, Raja Yoga and the other things, Karma Yoga and all those things. And so it has been always a pleasure. And somebody has said, even though there are 9 volumes of Vivekananda, the entire writings of his are still not available. In fact, there is much more that he had written by way of letters, by way of these things and all that. So why I mentioned his journey there is, with such difficulties, bad health, he also was not a very healthy gentleman. He had asthma and some other those things. Going to a foreign country in those days, not knowing a single person, no invitation, and spending there is something great. Can you and I sort of dare do that now? So, but that is a determination he had. So determination, excellence, I think these are very, very important. Work is worship, these are small things, but I think they are very, very essential things. So I am grateful to the Swamiji for having called me here and giving me an opportunity to speak to you. Thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words and for explaining us the importance of education, skill, determination and excellence in nation building. Thank you, sir. We now request Ajit Singh, sir, Faculty, Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, to introduce our chief guest to our audience. Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the chief guest, Chief Justice Ujjwal Bhuyan. Born in Guwahati, Justice Ujjwal had his formal education in Guwahati and Delhi. He is into second generation in the field of legal. His father was former Advocate General of Assam. Justice Ujjal practiced in all the 7 states, the 7 sisters of Northeast, they call it. So he has practiced in all the 7 states of Northeast before, representing all the states in the High Court of Guwahati. He was the standing counsel for 16 long years with income tax. And then apart from this, his other appointments have been, he was a senior advocate at Guwahati High Court, and he was appointed as Additional Advocate General Assam, and Additional Judge of Guwahati High Court. Apart from all this, he was closely associated with Judicial Academy and National Law University, Guwahati. He had a 2-year stint in Bombay before taking over the position here in Telangana High Court. So we welcome you, sir, to our VIH celebration, and request you to please give us your words of wisdom.
Swami Bodhumayananda ji, respected Padma Bhushan Padmanabhaya ji, Brother Justice Kodanram, Mr. Narasimha Reddy, Chairman Bar Council, Mr. President of the Bar Association, distinguished guests, faculties of Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, students, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure in coming to this institute and visiting the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence and the Ramakrishna Math in which this institute is centered. I went to the temple. It's really the silence there, the prayer that you offer in solitude, it gives a lot of peace and tranquility to oneself. I am a religious person. I believe in God, but I am not too overtly religious or too overtly a believer in this rituals. So somehow, therefore, the moment I stepped here, I immediately felt at home, at peace, the tranquility which is prevalent here. Friends, Ramakrishna Mission, at the outset, of course, I pay my homage to this great monk, Ramakrishna, and Mata Sarada Devi. The message of humanity, the oneness of all that they started, they spread, has transcended all barriers from Belur Math. It has transcended all state barriers or national barriers. Their favorite disciple, they had number of disciples. Favorite disciple, Swami Vivekananda, is an icon, is a national icon. We all look towards Swami Vivekananda. And Swami Vivekananda tells us, it is not the length of time that you live here, it is not the duration of your life that you live on this earth that is important. It is the quality of your life, or what you leave behind in the sands of time, footprints in the sands of time, that is important. Vivekananda lived only for 39 years, but the message that he has left for all of us will transcend generations after generations, ages after ages. So that is what is required. Like we judges or we lawyers, we are not here for all times to come. When we leave, it is only the judgments which we deliver, and we live through our judgments only. So, Ramakrishna Mission is not very new to me. I was in class 6. I studied in Don Bosco's by the Catholic Fathers. It's an institution run by the Catholic Fathers. I was in Don Bosco. And in class 6, Father V.M. Thomas, the then principal, told us that Ramakrishna Mission Guwahati is organizing inter-school debating competition, a lot of competition. So we should send a team also to this competition. So he asked me to prepare for the recitation competition. So one particular poem was given, and so all of us, and it was led by Father V.M. Thomas when we went to that competition. Unfortunately, I forgot the poem. I could not recite, and therefore it cost us, our team, school team, very heavily because of my failure to remember the poem which I was supposed to recite. But the important part was, as was pointed out, that Ramakrishna Mission stands for respecting faiths of all, oneness of all, is humanity. It is not exclusionary, it is inclusive. Therefore, the Father V.M. Thomas felt at home when he went to Ramakrishna Mission. So this is what struck me when I was in class 6. During the summer holidays, we used to travel to Shillong. It's a hill station near to Guwahati. From Shillong, we used to go to Cherrapunji, and we were told that these are the institutions run by Ramakrishna Mission. Cherrapunji is on the Bangladesh border, far, far away. At one point of time, it was in the geography books for being the wettest place on earth. Now it is no longer the wettest. Now we have a water shortage in Cherrapunji. So this is another issue altogether. But the point is that even in Cherrapunji, we had Ramakrishna Mission Institutes all over. Later on, when I became a lawyer, I used to go to Itanagar bench of the Guwahati High Court to practice. There I was told that this is the Ramakrishna Mission Hospital. So everywhere when I went, I came face to face with the Ramakrishna Mission, trying to reach the people where no one would normally go, remote places. Whether it is in natural calamities in Bangladesh or West Bengal or everywhere, in Orissa, Ramakrishna Mission was always there. So on this 23rd Foundation Day, I congratulate all those who are associated with the Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence. 23 years is a significant period, it's a long period for an institution. I'm sure the institution has done well, and it will continue to do well, being guided by the noble ideals of Ramakrishna Mission. Today also is a special day. I congratulate all of us today present here, because Hyderabad became part of the Indian Union, and India, that is Bharat. So it's a moment of great glory and happiness for all of us. Friends, I can only speak whatever little I know about law and judiciary. Beyond that, I should not venture. Even otherwise also, the conservative thinking is that judges should not speak in public. And somehow, I also agree to that. Judges should speak only through their judgments and should avoid speaking in public. But nonetheless, today's world is slightly changing. Law universities are coming up, institutes are coming up. Maybe for various reasons, people still have faith in the judiciary, and therefore persons associated with the judiciary are invited in occasions such as this, and therefore you are bound to speak whatever little you speak. So I will confine my speech only to this aspect only, because others I venture not for obvious reasons. Well, we all became independent in 1947, 15th August 1947. We all know we had the drafting committee, of the Constituent Assembly led by Baba Saheb Ambedkar, after several rounds of intense debate and discussion, the drafting committee drafted the longest written constitution of the world, having 395 articles, which was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949, and came into force on and from January 26, 1950. Interestingly, January 26, 1950, I came to know very recently only, my parents had got married. So, this is a day of great significance for us. Now, preamble to the Constitution of India. I'm saying this because this is also, it gels with the teachings of Swami Ramakrishna and the Ramakrishna mission. The preamble to the Constitution, which is a part of the Constitution, a basic feature of the Constitution, says that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, which is social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternal feelings, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. This is the preamble to the Constitution. So preamble tells us that in India, the people are the supreme. Everybody, every authority draws its strength, draws its legitimacy from we, the people of India. We have given ourselves a democratic form of governance, to be precise, parliamentary form of governance. Over a period of time, because of judicial decisions, verdicts, it has become an essential feature of the Constitution, a basic structure of the feature of the Constitution which cannot be amended or altered. Democracy or parliamentary democracy. Friends, yesterday I had attended one function in a famous, Nalsar University. I had gone there to inaugurate one institute sponsored by Justice B.P. Jivan Reddy. Along with that, there was a debating competition from various students, universities which have come all over the country, hosted by Nalsar. So I was also asked to say a few words to the debaters who had gathered, assembled at Nalsar University. So I had told the debaters, with whatever I could say, that you are participating as debaters. Art of debate teaches us to express our views forcefully, but in a decent manner. Decency, civility is a must for public discourse. Debate will teach you that. Debate will also teach you that there is a contra view to what you are saying. Debate will also teach you that there is a contra narrative, and you must respect that narrative. You must have an accommodative spirit. You must have tolerance. This is what I told the students. Debate, discourse, deliberations, discussions, even dissent, these are all part of democracy. What happens in court? What happens when a lawyer argues a case, judge listens? It is nothing but a discourse. It's a debate between the bar and the bench, and the judge gives the verdict. So therefore, I have always maintained that civility is a must in court discourse. We can't have a judge can be polite yet firm. We cannot have a situation where we have a screaming and shouting lawyer and an equally screaming and shouting judge. Court proceedings are not a slanging match. So therefore, like court proceedings, public discourse also, there is always a narrative, there is always a counter narrative. We must be able to appreciate We may not agree, but appreciate and show an accommodative spirit. This is all which is required. My senior, Padmanabhaya, with his vast experience, he has told us that the world needs a leader. The globe needs a global leader. India is fully competent, capable of becoming a global leader. But all that is required, however, to be a global leader is to have unity at home. We cannot have a fractured society at home and then claim global leadership. The society must be an egalitarian society. Padmanabhaya spoke about excellence. Yes, we must strive for excellence. There is no place for mediocrity. But our constitution, our constitutional goal abhors elitism. Excellence is something different. Elitism is something different. We must have faith, or we must strive to develop a society, or create a society where all men are equal, all men and all men are equal, and this is the essence of Article 14 of the Constitution of India. This is what Ramakrishna Mission teaches us, that oneness of all, equality of all human beings. I am reminded of a great song. I have come from a place where there is a lot of music and culture. One of the most outstanding, iconic composer, musician, singer is Dr. Bhupen Hazarika. He was awarded Padma Shri, he was awarded Padma Bhushan, he was awarded Padma Vibhushan, and after his death, he was awarded the Bharat Ratna. I think he's the only Indian who have been awarded all the civilian honors of this country. He wrote a famous song, and it was translated into Bengali, and the song says about Manush Manusher Jonno. If the loosely is translated, it means if a human being doesn't think about another human being, who will think about a human being? So this is the essence of this song, and not for nothing, BBC Bengali service declared that there was a poll, and this song was counted as one of the greatest songs of the 21st century. So, friends, we are in the judiciary. People look towards the judiciary. Wherever I go, whether it is in the Judicial Academy Assam, or Judicial Academy Maharashtra, or the Judicial Academy here in Telangana, I always tell my judicial officers that you are judges not for the period you sit in court, 10 to 5. You are judges 24/7. Your conduct will be watched by the public, not only by what you do in court, but what you do outside. You can't say something in court and do something at your home. You can't speak about equality in the court and practice all kinds of inequality at home. That's not acceptable for a judge. Judiciary, therefore, public perception of a judge, and by extension, a lawyer, is very important, because in the judiciary, perception matters. As Justice Frankfurter of the United States had said, judiciary has neither the purse nor the sword. All that it has is moral authority, which is based on public confidence. So we should not do, as judges, as lawyers, anything which breaches such public confidence. Of course, we are accountable. It is not that judges are not unaccountable. We are accountable to the people. We are accountable to the parliament. How many cases we have decided, the quality of our judgments? Certainly, there has to be public scrutiny, scrutiny of that. Chief Justice Marshall of the United States Supreme Court said that the only real source of power we as judges can tap is the respect of the people It is undeniable that the courts are acting for the people who have reposed confidence in them. Confidence in the judiciary does not require a belief that all judicial decisions are correct or all judicial decisions are wise. Therefore, we have the system of appeals, revisions, reviews like that. As Chief Justice Ramana the other day said, merely because one or two judgments may not be up to the acceptable standards, you cannot brush the entire judiciary or condemn the entire judiciary. Judiciary has the inner resilience to overcome this. In 1950, the Supreme Court said that as long as there is a law and that law lays down a procedure, a person can be deprived of his life and liberty. This is how the interpretation of Article 21 was given in A.K. Gopalan's case. 28 years later, in Menka Gandhi's case, this was overruled. So the judiciary has the strength, the inner resilience to overcome this. In 1975, in ADM Jabalpur's case, Supreme Court gave a very, very disturbing judgment saying that when emergency is declared, the right to life can even be suspended. It was authored by then Chief Justice, he was also not authored, he was also one of the signatories to the judgment, Justice Y.V. Yashwant Chandrachud. It's a great irony, one way or the other, that in 2011, in the famous case of K.S. Puttaswamy, Justice K.S. Puttaswamy's case, where Supreme Court said right to privacy is a fundamental right which can be traceable to Article 21, this judgment was explicitly overruled. And it was overruled, authored by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who is the son of the great Yashwant Chandrachud. So this is how judiciary has the inner strength, the resilience to correct aberrations which may creep into the judicial system. But the essential thing is that to err is human. We as judges, we cannot say that we do not make mistakes. To err is human, but we don't make deliberate mistakes. We don't make mistakes unfairly or having a bias. We don't do that, and we should never do that. A judge, by his salt, he cannot commit such a mistake. Confidence in the judiciary does not require a belief that all judicial decisions are wise or all judicial behavior are impeccable. However, what is required is satisfaction that the justice system is based upon values of independence, impartiality, integrity, and professionalism. And within the limits of ordinary human frailty, the system pursues these values faithfully. So therefore, we have this oft-repeated phrase, justice must not only be done, but must be seen to have been done. A judge has to be not only impartial, but must be seen to be impartial. As Lord Denning, he very succinctly he put it, justice is rooted in the confidence of the public, and that confidence is destroyed when the right-minded people go away thinking that he was not heard or that the judge was biased. Well, friends, all of us have some prejudices. I won't say bias. We do carry prejudices from the time we are born till we go to the grave. The profession of law or the discipline of law teaches us how to control and how to overcome such biases. Sometimes involuntarily, biases can manifest in various ways, in the form of color, in the form of gender, in the form of caste, in the form of religion, in the form of economic disparity, in the form of how you speak, so on and so forth. In fact, I remember I gave a speech, I forgot. I had classified, categorized various forms of prejudices as some prejudices being vertical, some prejudices being horizontal, and some prejudices cutting across both horizontal and vertical prejudices. Be that as it may, the profession of law, the judiciary, trains us how to overcome and how to conquer such prejudices. Friends, very important aspect of judging as well as judiciary is the relationship between bar and bench. Many of you are students of law. Shortly you will be joining the bar and you will become lawyers. It is important that there is a healthy relationship between the bar and the bench. Bar Council chairman is also present here. I always maintain that without the cooperation of the bar, the bench cannot do anything. All the great judgments which have been delivered are outcome of research work, the great arguments advanced in the court by the great lawyers. So without the assistance of the lawyers, no judge can deliver good judgments. Not to speak of delivering good judgments, you can't even carry out day-to-day work in the court. So bar and bench are the two chariots of this great institution of judiciary. And there must be mutual respect and mutual reverence for each one of them. Justice Rajamannar, who was the first Indian Chief Justice of the Chennai High Court, and he was Chief Justice for 13 long years, he said that High Court, in the larger sense, is not merely a collection of judges. It is an institution of which the bench and the bar, and I would add the public, are integral parts with its own traditions and ideals which have inspired them and standards which have been maintained. Judges should treat lawyers with respect and dignity. A lawyer is an officer of the court. For a judge, trust and confidence of the bar and thereby of the people is his greatest asset. It must always be remembered that respect and dignity can never be demanded. Respect is earned. It can be earned by your conduct, by your quality of your judgments, by the quantity of your judgments. The road to dignity is humility. There is no place for arrogance in the world of justice. Friends, I don't want to continue with this monologue. Everything, whether good, I always tell in court, everything, whether it's good or bad, must come to an end. But I must thank the Ramakrishna Mission and this center for inviting me to share some of my views with you. Every visit to the Ramakrishna Mission is a new visit, is an enriching visit. We'll all go back with the feeling of the ambience which pervades this campus, and in our own way, let us contribute to what our Constitution teaches us. Respect each other. There may be differences in thought process, there may be difference in caste, there may be difference in language, difference in religion, difference in attire, but let us respect each other. Only when we respect each other, we can have a healthy society, and only if we have a healthy society, we can have a powerful nation. With these few words, I thank the organizers once again for inviting me here. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring and valuable insights about judiciary and the profession of law. Now, I would like to request our Adhyaksha Maharaj to felicitate our chief guest and guest of honor. Thank you, Maharaj. Now, we would like to request our Adhyaksha Maharaj to deliver the vote of thanks.
Before I formally propose the vote of thanks for this wonderful function, though small but beautiful and deep, I'm happy to say and feel proud, my benchmate in school and later in college, he is now the Chief Justice of the Gujarat High Court, Sri Arvind Kumar. And I keep tracking his online judgments, so humorous and typical Arvind Kumar that he was. The style, the punch, the sarcasm and the lesson that he gives, I keep laughing and recollect his old days when we were in the same bench fighting and playing and eating. When it comes to eating, he was so fond of eating. Recently in one of the online classes, it is there in the net. When there was an online meeting going on, one of the police officers, who was one of the witnesses or something, he is drinking Coca-Cola. Online hearing is going on, this fellow is drinking Coca-Cola. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then the Chief Justice caught the point. He said, called the advocate who was supporting or arguing the case. He said, what is that police officer doing there? Drinking Coca-Cola? Has he any manner? Should I dismiss him? He became a little serious. I am going to punish him for life. What is that? By evening 5 o'clock, 500 Coca-Colas he has to distribute to all the bar association members. I enjoyed I laughed and told so many, please watch how the judgment is, how the punishment is given. So, and recently one lawyer was arguing. 1 lakh rupees fine. Another 1 minute, another 2 lakhs fine. The advocate had to close this matter because his bank balance will go nil. So, and the roots of Ramakrishna mission, or the advent of the Ramakrishna mission, genesis goes on to the court cases in Bengal. Sri Ramakrishna's father, so truthful, so loving, so humble, so devoted, a false case was put on him by the local zamindar, and he was thrown out of that original village, the Purvashma village. Then he had to migrate to Kamarpukur, get some small land, some 2 or 3 bighas of land. It is called the Padmapukur, where paddy is grown in that land, and that is made rice payasam every day to Sri Ramakrishna. His father's suffering and father's blessing that he got. He was so truthful, and then the court cases started. And Swami Vivekananda's father, Vishwanath Datta, one of the leading barristers of Calcutta High Court at that time, wanted his son Narendra to become a lawyer. He was about to pay the fees, law fees, but Sri Ramakrishna, his master, had other plans. He withdrew this one, he could not pay, emotionally was blocked. He ran all the way to Dakshineshwar, 12 kilometers, and the rest is history. For 5 long years, a different kind of training between Narendra, the brilliant debater, brilliant philosopher in Scottish Church College, later turned to be Swami Vivekananda, inspiring generations and generations of lawyers and teachers, and everybody continues to do so. So we have many lawyers who have practiced in the courts in Bengal or Karnataka, etc., but had a higher purpose in life. They have renounced and they've become monks. And we have a legal cell in our headquarters to solve the problems of our organization. They are the mentors there in the headquarters. So we have got chartered accountants, we have got lawyers, we have got doctors, we have got MBAs, we have got so many other people who are supporting or contributing to the welfare of the society. So we are indeed extremely happy, extremely delighted to listen to Padma Bhushan Padmanabhaiji about the situation in India today, not just what we go through the newspaper or media, but there is something positive going on. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. And from Mrityu, let us go to death. Amrityu, Amritatvam is our birthright. So for that, the process is what we are supposed to do. As is mentioned, he said, excellence is the real music of life. Minus that, we are adhamadhama, not even madhyama. So that excellence, human excellence quality, is what we have to acquire as early as possible. There's a beautiful quotation by Martin Luther King. He said, if you have to sweep the streets as the painting of Michelangelo. If you have to sweep the streets as the poetry of Shakespeare. If you have to sweep the streets in such a way that the gods in heaven will shower petals in the way and proclaim, here is the greatest sweeper on earth. Even the little work as sweeping the streets should be done as the highest worship. And all the great acharyas, great saints, great mahatmas, ratnas have done that ordinary work as the greatest worship. Swami Vivekananda, when he came back from Kolkata, started the Ramakrishna mission, people will remember 1898, the greatest plague, cholera in Kolkata. Thousands and thousands were dying. The British municipality was not providing proper Medicare. Swamiji wrote an appeal. We monks, we brahmacharis, we workers, we are working, cleaning the streets and distributing medicines. Please donate a paisa for this cause. Swamiji's appeal is there. But then it did not come about. Superstition, fear of cholera, fear of plague. But what did this man do? He saw drainages were blocked. Latrines were dirty. Nobody is cleaning them properly. He called his disciple, took a broomstick, took a spade, tied up his dhoti, started cleaning the latrines and toilets of the streets in Calcutta. People thought, oh, Vivekananda has become a babu, Western gentleman. He is only talking and enjoying. He won't do all this. He won't help us. But slowly, some young people in Calcutta streets, in village houses, they opened their window because sweeping sound is coming. They thought corporation will clean chestunaremo ani. When they saw this world-conquering monk, along with his disciples, cleaning the latrines and toilets, which are all in a very bad state, rats and dirty things going a bad smell everywhere, they came from the backside and requested Swami, meerenduku chestunaru, memu chestam Swami ani. Swamiji said, ఒకే వాయిస్లో, if you want to do something for your country, bring another broomstick and do. I am not going to give mine. And he gave half-an-hour lecture. When your own brothers and sisters are dying, you hide your face in shame, you hide your face in fear. Why don't you come and serve your people? How can you gain freedom with this narrow-mindedness? That was the opening, the first opening of Ramakrishna Mission service in Kolkata plague, and that continued in different ways. Why? Swamiji, in our Upanishads we hear Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Common, wonderful tradition. But Swamiji said that old tradition is okay, we have to start a new worship. Rogi Devo Bhava, Murka Devo Bhava, Daridra Devo Bhava. For the next 50 years, let Mother India be our God through these people who are suffering. That was Swamiji's worship of Shiva Gnane Jiva Seva, which is going on in different ways, different forms. And that training is given of excellence also in our Institute of Human Excellence. Right from the time he or she comes into the campus, a small boy, 5th standard, 6th standard, we observe, or faculty observes, or volunteer observes. ఆ విద్యార్థి తన పాదరక్షని ఎలా వదులుతాడు? ఇది పెద్ద సమస్య మీ ఇళ్లలో. How do you leave your slippers? We don't know. East, west, north, south, Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Kuchipudi. Slippers will be flying everywhere. Simple thing as putting your slippers in a straight line, you don't know, and you talk about civil engineering, big buildings. First lesson is keep your slippers properly. Why? A great senior monk of the Ramakrishna order, when I was a small boy, He taught us one lesson. 35 years ago he taught me. Still I remember, and I quote it in my class here, Balavikas. I judge a man's character by the way he leaves his slippers. 35 years ago, Veda mantra. చెప్పులు ఎలా వదులుతావో నీ క్యారెక్టర్ని నేను సర్టిఫై చేస్తాను. He used to observe us. 2 slippers, straight line, point A, point B, geometry 10 marks. But 2 చెప్పులు సరిగా పెట్టవయ్యా. పాద రక్ష అంటావు, నువ్వు దాన్ని రక్షించవు. When I come to Ramakrishna Mission, you see, one day Enadu reporter came and took photo of the cheppal in a straight line and said Ramakrishna Mission training. చెప్పులు స్థిరంగా పెడతారు వీళ్ళు. చెప్పులు స్థిరంగా ఉంటే మనసు కూడా స్థిరంగా ఉంటుంది. Reflection, what is inside comes outside. That's why I tell people, Swachh Bharat, Swachh Bharat, Swachh Bharat. Great idea. But again, things are dirty. Why? Swachh manas nahi hai. Swachh soch nahi hai. इसलिए Swachh Bharat temporary hai. स्वच्छ मनस स्वच्छ सोच से स्वच्छ भारत निर्माण होता है. First train the mind, clean the mind. This is what Swamiji's teaching was. This is what Sri Ramakrishna's teaching was. This is what we follow in the great legacy in Ramakrishna Math. Anywhere, any place. So, wonderful ideas they have given us about India, about the positive things that are going about in India. I remember when you were telling, sir, about Amul company, how it was started by Kurian Varghese and his team, making it a cooperative society. I read in that book, I Too Have Dreams, autobiography of Kurian Varghese. His birthday is called National Milk Day. It seems he read somewhere a very critical statement about India's milk quality. He mentions there, the milk in India is worse than the gutter water of London streets. Some foreigner has commented. ఎలా ఉంటుంది వింటే? అంత దారిద్ర్యమా, అంత హీన పరిస్థితియా? The milk in India is worse than the gutter water of London streets. Printed matter. That changed his life. He said, if it is true, we have to change it. If it is wrong, we have to prove it. That is how he goes, and Anand Milk Unit Limited, which is of excellent quality milk, we have become self-sufficient in milk. Otherwise, we were purchasing cheese. We were purchasing butter from New Zealand, from Australia. All that stopped. Now we are making our own things. Like that, so many incidents come to our mind when with his experience and knowledge all over the country and in the government, he has enlightened high points, top class points, which the youngsters and others will take home and do more research on that and make things better for our society. We thank you very much from the bottom of our heart and wish you strength, health and joy in days to come. And we have the Chief Justice, Honorable Shri Ujjal Bhuyanji, his love for the Ramakrishna Mission, his applications, his presentations all over the country in the 7 states, where all the 7 states we have the Ramakrishna Mission branches. He had been to, he said his visits everywhere have been illuminating. He's spoken about the law, about the dharma, about the future, how the judges should be, how the relationship should be in the bar and the bench. And in our tradition, we have law as dharma. The Sanskrit word is dharma. Sannyasi has got his own dharma. Grihastha dharma. A vidyarthi dharma. A upadhyaya dharma. A doctor vaidya dharma. Once the dharma is taken care, in the Upanishads we have a beautiful philosophy called Ritam. Ritam has become rhythm in English. Ritam. An entire chapter is there in the Upanishads. How there is a cyclic, rhythmic process in nature. From the time we get up till the time we go back to sleep. Sunrise to sunset. Everything is based on dharma. Dharma goes, the society cracks. And when dharma is prevailing, ritam is maintained. And when ritam and dharma are complementary, satyam prevails in the samajam. This is the triangle in the Upanishads. Dharma, satya, ritam. Dharma, satya, ritam. Goes on and on and on. In my body, if the pancha pranas are not rhythmic, then I'm a sick fellow. Constipation, acidity, fever, and all that high BP, low BP is because dharma is not going on. So I go to yoga classes, get back my dharma, get back the rhythm, get back my healthy process. Then I go back to work. So each one of us has to work on the dharma aspect, the law, And then the society is prevailed and the Nagarikata, the citizen, takes over. He rightly pointed out the moral quotient, the moral dimension of a lawyer, of a judge, where it is by inner propulsion, not external compulsion. So we have to have that natural flair of dharma, of law, of morality, and our personal life and our social life would match. That becomes tapas. Whatever you do, wherever we are, yadeva vidyaya karoti upanishadaya, shraddhaya, vidyaya, tadeva viryavattaram bhavati. Whatever is done with vidya, with shraddha, and with Upanishad, that work becomes excellent work. So we have to imbibe those spirits, all of youngsters, adults, experienced people. We thank Chief Justice Ujjal Bhuyanji for his time, presence, and wonderful time that he has. And we invite you again off the campus or to spend some time here with us and guide the youngsters in life and in values. Our prayers to Sri Ramakrishna to bless him with good health, strength and peace, and more contribution to the judiciary and to the youngsters in future to come. And then I thank Sri Narasimha Reddy Garu for his time. Just by a letter, email, etc., he has come to Justice retired Kodandramji, our good friend, Sri Ram Babu Garu, retired IAS, Bar Association members, advocates, young students for coming here and participating in the celebration. And as I said in the beginning, another 8 months, such celebrations will be going on in big ways. We are targeting the chartered accountants, we are targeting the lawyers, the engineers, the doctors, the managers, the teachers, because Ramakrishna Mission has to cater to all sections of the society, irrespective of who we are, what we are, etc. Human excellence is the need of the hour. So we need your support, your cooperation, and participation in days to come. So this is our thanks to all of you again, and we conclude with a small prayer and few announcements, right? One book is given to all the participants. Vivekananda is Called to the Nation, collected from the 9 volumes selected in subject. If you have it, you can give it to somebody else. And if you don't have it, you go through that as an introduction to Swamiji. Our monthly journal is published called Ramakrishna Prabha. Nearly 1 lakh subscribers copies every month, goes around all over the state, 2 states and abroad also. Complimentary copy of September is given to each one of you. And after the lunch prasadam is served to everybody in our campus here. The certificate of participation of this seminar is given to all the students and others. Please collect it after the lunch is, after you have your lunch. So I end with a prayer and then announcement where the lunch is, then the honorable guests will leave the campus. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Just stand in appreciation when the Chief Justice and Honorable Padmanabhai Garu leave the campus. Then please sit back for just 1 minute for instruction.
I request all the participants to please sit back in your places. There are few announcements for all the participants regarding the prasadam distribution. I request all the participants to please sit back in your places. There are few announcements for the prasadam distribution. All the ladies, for the ladies, the prasadam distribution is arranged and backside of this VIHE, that is in the VIHE shed. And I request all the ladies to move to the shed from the back door of this auditorium. I request all the volunteers to guide the ladies. And likewise for gents,